Earlier this year, my family and I took a road trip out to Washington, D.C. to attend the annual pro-life march there. Now, I'm the oldest of 7 children, so when we all cram in a van, any and every joke gets repeated over and over and over again. On this trip, the joke was found on the license plates in Washington, D.C., which all had the phrase, taxation without representation. Why is this funny? Because it's ironic. We fought our war of independence over taxation without representation, and in turn, won taxation with representation. However, after having won this right, the question came up, could taxation strip you of your representation? The Civil War was our tragically necessary conflict needed to abolish the institution of slavery. The elimination of slavery promised to so many freed slaves the idea that all men, regardless of race, would be recognized as having been created by God, and as a result, enjoy the same God-given rights. The 15th Amendment sought to do just this by ensuring that all people, regardless of race, would have the ability to vote, which is unquestionably a God-given right. It is a God-given right because without it, the opinions that you hold that are protected by the First Amendment would be meaningless. The right to vote ensures that, as Abraham Lincoln put it, the government of the people, for the people, and by the people shall not perish, end quote. Now, the right to vote found itself under attack through the use of poll taxes. Poll taxes are taxes that in today's money cost about $20 and were given to all people at the polls before voting. The problem is, though, that following the Civil War, the systemic racism meant that most freed slaves were poverty-stricken. This means that when a freed slave, an African American, goes to the ballot box to affect the country that would promise to be of them, for them, and by them, were turned away. They were turned away because of a tax that was levied on all people, but that targeted them specifically. Now, taxation is a thing that is imposed on people by people. Taxation is money that, while can and often is used for the public good, regardless of effect or intent, is given to you by man. The 24th Amendment fundamentally changed the answer to the question of whether or not taxation given to you by man could strip you of your representation given to you by God. Because up until the 24th Amendment was ratified, people of African American descent have had taxes used against them to silence their voice and limit their power. While the 15th Amendment protected the right to vote, the 24th Amendment protected against the government-endorsed infringement of this right. While the Civil War was fought so that all men would be recognized as having been created by God, the 15th Amendment provided the right to enjoy the God-given right to representation. It is the 24th Amendment that fulfilled the promise of liberty and justice for all that was given to African Americans following the end of the Civil War. It did this by protecting their right to arrive at the ballot box and vote for the candidate that would best serve them and their family by eliminating the poll tax that had so often turned so many away. Thank you.